Okay, so we're in Joshua and I'm sorry, we're in Judges. It's the same thing, Jay. Judges, both them. Okay, close. Okay, so right, we're in Judges chapter 1, verse 8, and it says, "V'yelachamu b'nei Yehuda b'Yerushalayim." So b'nei Yehuda fought in Yerushalayim, v'yilkadu ota, and they captured it. Vayakuha levicharev, and they smote it according to the with the sword. V'deir, we did this right. V'deir shilchu be'esh, and the city they sent forth the fire to destroy it. So we did that.
I think so.
I think we did that one. Okay.
Yeah, we wrapped up.
The word, but we've had milk come up for battle or war. You can see the shorish
V'yelachamu.
and lachem.
Right.
Oh.
V'yelachamu, right. Milchama comes from lachem, right. Lachem means to battle. Okay. So since we did that, let's just go on. Tet. V'achar, and after Yardu Bnei Yehuda, so Bnei Yehuda went down lehilachem b'Kanaani, to fight against, to wage battle against the Canaani. Yoshev Bahar, that dwelled in the mountain area, Ve'negev, and in the desert area, Ve'ashfela, and in the valley. Any questions?
This translation says the mountains of the south and of the lowland.
Oh, the mountains of the south? Really?
Of the south and of the lowland.
Yeah, so why did they go down? If it went to the inhabitants of the mountains, and then it says the lowland.
Okay, let's see. V'yacha yardu ki har Yerushalayim hayagavoa v'yeta harim. Because the mountain, this is your answer. You said why they go down? Because the mountain of Jerusalem is higher than all the other mountains. So Amar, Malbim knew your question, Mr. Ornstein, so he decided to answer you specifically. Okay. V'yamar achar, yeah, and then he says after they went down, after they went down to fight in the mountain, Misham el Negev, and then to the southern area. You said the Negev is Negev is a place. It's the desert area. Okay.
Does Negev have any meaning relative to the southern area or anything like that? The word itself?
That I don't know. How about you, Rabbi? You know?
I hear the question.
Does Negev have anything to do with southern area? The name itself?
I think
Negev is south. The Negba. Oh, there you go. South. Yep. There you go. Thank you. Wow, there's an echo here today. Okay. Vashvila and the valley. Good. Okay. I'm surprised they would say the southern area. Not okay. Fine. Vayelech Misham, and they went from there El Yoshvei Devir to the inhabitants of Devir. V'shem Devir Lifnim Kiryat Sefer, and the original name, that's Shem Devir Lifanim, the name of Devir before or originally. Okay, Lifanim would be before. It was called Kiryat Sefer. That's what the original name was, apparently. It's interesting because I think we call it. No. Devir. They went from there to the
Hebron.
To Devir. Why are you saying Hebron?
Verse 11.
Verse 11.
Okay, I'm gonna look at the wrong one. Okay.
I skipped a verse?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's pro.
Skip 10.
Okay, skip 10. There you go. 10. It's going to be an interesting day today.
Yeah, I'm going.
Okay. Vayelech Yehuda, and Yehuda went El HaKanani to the Canaanim. Hayoshe b'Chevron, who were the ones who dwelled in Chevron. V'shem Chevron Lefanim Kiryat Arba, and the original name, again the same construction. The original name of Chevron was Kiryat Arba, which is the city of four. That's what it literally means. Vayaku et Shaishai v'et Achiman v'et Talmai, and they smote Shaishai, Achiman, and Talmai. Okay, so what's your questions there?
I don't know if it relates to what we're reading. Is there a Kiryat Arba
Yep.
And also Hebron?
I believe yes to both of those.
So here it says, at least historically, it's telling us that that's the same city.
Correct. So good. That's one thing. Yes. Okay. What's what else? What's another question? That's more an observation. What's another question?
Who are these guys?
Who are these guys? What Sheshai, Achiman, and Talmai? Good. What's another question? This question is a subtle question, but why is it called Kiryat Arba, the city of four? Which four?
Are all these Canaanites?
Well, everybody in the area is like everybody in the area is called Canaan.
It's translated as the city of four, or the four cities?
No, city of four.
City of four.
Yeah.
So this is all basically one city, even with these other three.
Kiryat Arba?
That includes Hebron and
Kiryat Arba is Hebron.
Huh?
Sorry,
Maybe
I'm
that
just.
include maybe the city of four. Maybe it means four cities. Maybe
No.
it includes Hebron and two other cities.
No, the reason it's called Kiryat Arba is because that was the city of the four giants. The four giants, the three sons were Sheshai, Achiman, and Talmai. The father's name, according to the rabbis, actually was Arba. So it was the city of Arba, his city. Okay, and but those were the giants. So that is why it was called Kiryat Arba, after the giants, the four giants. And so Rashi, the Malbim says on 10, Ve'elech Yehuda, Zen Nizkar Kavakivo Yeshua. This is already mentioned in the conquest of Joshua. V'sham Avuar Shekalev Horish Et Ha'anakim. And there it's explained that Kalev is the one who drove out the giants. Evaya B'chaye Yeshua, and that was in the lifetime of Yeshua. Upo chashav biyachad kol ma shekavash Yehuda, and here it's considering together all that Yehuda conquered. V'ratzolemo kavar halach Yehuda el Kanani hayoshev b'Hebron, and so it means to say that Yehuda already had gone into Canaan, into the Canaanite area, and to the inhabitants of Hebron. Bod Yeshua Chai, while Joshua was still alive. Ve'agam shesham yachas devar el Kalev, and also that place was connected to Kalev. Who haya Rosh Hashevet, and he was the head of the tribe. V'shivto, and his tribe Halachimo went with him, because Kalev was from which tribe? Come on, Yehuda. Kalev was okay. So because of this, it's related to both of these both ways. Ki Chevron Atzma nitan LaLeviim, because Chevron itself was given to the Leviim. Rak Sadeh Ha'ir v'Chatzerah, but only the field of the city and its outlying areas. Not new lekalev was given to Kalev lechein. Therefore, shneim hit atzmu roshi. So that's why both of them were conquering the same place. But like I said, the place is called Kiryat Arba because of the giants, and Hebron because it becomes a new name of that place.
Does Sheshai have anything to do with Shishi? Is it the same spelling?
It is the same spelling, but I'm not sure if it has the same. It's also Sheish is marble, so you can have a lot of connections. If I want to make a lot of midrashim, I could, but I'm not. That's not my aim here. Okay, so now we're at 11.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't want to. Right. So now it says 11 once again. Vayelech misham. They went from there, namely Hebron. El Yoshvei Devir, to the inhabitants of Devir. V'shem Devir lefanim Kiryat Sefer. And the original name of Devir was Kiryat Sefer. And again, I think they still call a place in Israel Kiryat Sefer. I'm not sure if it was Devir, but By the way, a lot of these places in modern day Israel, just to answer that question, would not necessarily be where it was originally. It's more that it's,
They wanted to use the name again.
right. That's about all it would be. So maybe it's in the same area, possibly it's in the same area, but I'm not sure. But I think it's more of a why every single town has a main street or anything like that. I think we just like the names, and we want it.
Anywhere near today, Hebron?
So that I need you to go to a map for. Same thing with Kiryat Sefer. Like I said, I'm pretty sure these are still named places. I'm just not sure if they are in the geographical area that they originally were in. That, of course, would presuppose that we know where Devere is. Remember, all these things are guesses based upon what, for when we look at maps or biblical maps, all of these things are guesses based upon the geographical descriptions that the Tanakh gives. While the map makers won't appreciate that statement, it is.
Kiryat Sefer, is that like a city of numbers or
Books.
books?
A city of books. Could be the National Library, Smithsonian. But it's that's what it's called. So it says the Malbim says Vayelech Misham, okay, that he went from there. Gam Sipor Zeh, Sipor Achsa and Nishkap Yeshua. That both of these were also mentioned in Joshua. V'Ratzalamah Shahalach Kavar V'Chai Yeshua. And it said, he wants to say that they went already in the times of the life of Yehuda. Okay. V'az haya sipor zeh, and then there was this story. V'chachmein zichron levracha itaru. They al Shabbat sipor zeh shnei pamim. They made it aware that it seems that it's coming twice. V'al sofa sefer shemnei keni alu me'ir tamarim. That it went Bnei Keni went up from the city of Tamarim. She'ein lo Indian klal. It's not a matter here. Okay, so what she wants to say? What's the point here? Okay, it's not that we really have to know here. Just repeating it a second time. Fine. So now 12. Unless there's questions, 12. Vayover Kalev. So Yakalev said, Asher Yaker Kiryat Sefer Ulechada, the one who conquers, or the one who smites the people of Kiryat Sefer and conquers it. V'natati lo et Achsa biti leisha. I will give to that person Achsa, my daughter, for a wife. Whoever can capture this. So guess what? You get my daughter. It's a good deal. Any questions?
Do we know anything about the motivation of Caleb here? Is he primarily interested in conquering that city with his daughter, or is he primarily interested in giving his daughter a mighty warrior, a leader?
Wow, what an option you give me.
My first thought was that he really wanted to conquer that city, so he's willing to give away his daughter for that. So you have it.
I don't know anything about his daughter, though.
So there you go. You have a couple of questions. You asked one way, you asked a different way. Okay. The question that the rabbis also put is, how did he know that the person who conquered the city would be worthy for his daughter? You're saying a mighty warrior. You gave a very nice thing. He's a mighty warrior. Maybe the guy's he's a guerrilla warfare. How do I know what he is? He could be an animal. So here you have Kalev, who was, the cream of the crop, and his daughter certainly is going to be, even if would be the most ugly woman on the planet, she is still coming from Yichus of the genealogy. And let's face it, when it comes to money and power, looks are second class. Okay.
Two guys doing
So,
work,
okay. So then what happens? So then what happens is you have to ask the question: why did he make such an offer? Okay. And the answer is, and if I can find, I'll just tell you it outside because I have to find it where he says it. But the Malbim basically says that he understood that Kalev understood that the only person who would be able to conquer these people would have to be a tzaddik. It would have to be someone with Hashem, because he's a mighty warrior himself. Why didn't he do it himself? He says to if you remember the story back in Joshua, he says, "I still have my strength with me. I'm still a good fighter, not a problem. I can do all these things." So if that's the case, what happened here? Why didn't you do it here too? So he says that he understood that whoever could take this guy over, these people over, would have to be a tzaddik, and that person would be fitting for his daughter. That's why he puts his daughter up on the line here. Besides, he wants his daughter to get married off, I guess. Could be he wanted, but that was the ultimate reward, to be related to Kalev. But where would you? I forget where I saw that. I know I saw that. So it's just a matter of maybe when we talked about it in Joshua, that's when we came up with that. Because I don't see it here. So it must be that it's a repeat. I mean, just understand this is a repeat from Joshua. So Vayilkada Atniel ben Kenaz. So what happened is Atniel, the son of Kenaz, Achi Kalev Hakaton, Mimenu, the younger brother, his younger brother, conquered it. So Atniel is the brother of Kalev, but a half brother, not the full brother. Kalev is Kalev ben Yefuna, right?
How can you marry your half sister?
It's not his sister, it's his niece, if anything.
Oh, his younger son.
It would be his niece.
His younger brother.
Right. So it would be his niece, if anything. Vayitin Lord Achsa bitol Isha. So he gave him Achsa, his daughter, for a wife. By the way, and we would consider a half brother. You would consider a half brother to be the uncle. In other words, if I have a half brother,
Yeah.
so that's the straight uncle of the girl or not?
Wait. No. No, it'd be. Wait.
In other words, his mother is they have a mother in common. They have the mother's the one in common. So yeah, so I'm saying in English we would still call that half brother the uncle, no?
I guess so.
Call me. Yeah. Ran out of charge here.
Oh, it's simple. I'm saying if Reuven has Reuven's father dies, Reuven's mother marries another guy, so Reuven's mother has a son with his second husband. So I'm saying now you have half brothers. So now is that half brother, for all intent and purposes, consider a full brother when it comes to other relations? I would assume so, no?
Oh.
Yeah,
Sorry?
I would think so.
Yeah, it's still called an uncle. So I'm saying it's just a straight uncle, yeah. So we don't worry about that, yeah.
There's something on that from the commentary on Joshua, on Caleb's daughter.
So what does he say? Is it right here? So on Caleb's daughter, who was herself exceptional do I have to go further up under there? Okay. Caleb's daughter, who was herself a woman of exceptional caliber, was proud to be the wife of a man who had the degree of divine knowledge, although the actual teachings have been... Oh, no, this is talking about... Okay. This is a different thing. Why Otniel was the one who was picked. It doesn't answer the first question. In other words, why he offered didn't answer it. What he's answering is the second question. Why was Otniel destined to be the wife, so husband? So he says because he had what happened was Joshua, when we did this in Joshua, when Joshua took over, so he forgot 3,000 laws that he was taught by Moshe, and the only way to get them back was with Othniel, because he knew how to learn, as it were. So God gave him this gift. And so his wisdom was so profound, he was able to deduce from the text of the Torah those related laws that used to be known. So he brought them back. So that's why he was fitting to be with her, because if she was of such exceptional caliber, that's what he's bringing up.
Cousins, but
they weren't cousins. They weren't cousins. Again, Caleb is the father, and Othniel is the half brother of Caleb. He's the uncle.
He's the son. He's the son of the
Kenaz.
brother.
What?
Osniel is the son of Caleb's younger brother. Yeah.
No. Adniel. No. You're read it again. Adniel ben Kenaz.
Yeah.
Adniel is the son of Kenaz. Achi Kalev HaKatom Mimenu. He's the brother of who was. No, I know you're getting confused. Kenaz is not the brother of. No. Adniel ben Kenaz.
Oh.
Period. Now, who's Adniel? He's the Achi Kalev HaKatom Mimenu. He's the younger brother of Kalev. I see you're getting confused.
Oh, so he's okay. He's a half brother. Is that
Of
what you said?
Kalev, yes. It's a half brother of
Half
Kalev.
brother.
They have a mother in common.
And he's marrying
His niece.
half.
His
His
niece.
niece.
His niece. His niece.
Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Who's the guy he's marrying? Caleb's son.
Kalev's daughter.
Aksa.
Achsa, right.
They're brother and sister, but half.
Who's brother and sister?
Oh, wait.
Oh, you're getting confused.
Niece and uncle.
There's niece and uncle.
Now, wait a minute.
Asniel is Kalev's younger brother. Kalev's younger brother.
And he's marrying
Kalev's
daughter.
daughter.
They're brother and sister, but
There's no brother and sister here.
there's a different father.
There's no brother and sister. Adniel and Kalev are two boys.
What?
Adniel, the son of Kenaz. Who is this person? This person is the younger brother of Kalev.
Othniel.
Asniel is the younger brother of Kalev.
Okay, right, but they have different father, you said.
They have different fathers. Kalev is Ben Yefuna,
They have different father,
but same mother.
and he's marrying
The same mother. But he's marrying Kalev's daughter
from
from Kalev. Kalev has a wife, and he has a daughter.
okay, so Othniel and Aksa,
Our
they
uncle
have
and
the same.
no. Look at the chart. Let's look at the charts here. Here's Kalev. Here's Asniel. Same level. They're brothers.
Your brothers.
Kalev and Asniel are brothers. Same level.
Then
Now keep looking. Look at the magic board.
okay,
Now he's got it.
he's marrying his half niece.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now I got it.
I know it's half niece. What the niece is. I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay. That's something I'm not sure what we'd call them in English, but she's a niece. And they're allowed to marry a niece. You can marry your niece. You can't marry your uncle, but you can marry your aunt, but you can
What
marry.
about first cousins?
You can also get married.
I mean, but doesn't from the standpoint of what do you call
Genealogy?
it? Yeah, I mean, physiology. How do you call that?
Yeah, I understand.
Genetics.
Genetics.
Can cause problems even with the first cousin.
So what?
Maybe.
So what one rabbi said to that one who married his first cousin, in this year, I mean not this year, I mean in my lifetime, he married his first cousin. So we all said the same thing to him. Whoa, that's a little too close for genetics, don't you think? He said the Torah doesn't forbid it, and if the Torah doesn't forbid it, it can't be bad. So that's what it was. Cannot be bad. So that was his way of looking at.
Be bad, dude. That's what I would.
No, so you're arguing on him. He married his first cousin. You're arguing on him. Okay. So what we would say to that is,
There's a percentage of that it could be problems.
what we would say to that is, to answer your question, most of us don't marry our first cousins or our nieces or anything else. We normally don't do that these days. I can't answer why Hashem didn't say, they're not one of the arayot, certainly not one of the forbidden relationships we have. So if somebody would want to marry them for whatever reasons they had, and let's remember one thing, whenever in the old days, marriage was more for protection. In other words, when I would marry this woman, I'm taking her under my wing, as it were, which is why I would have multiple wives, because they're all coming under my protection. I'm responsible for them. Today, we don't have that concept of marriage. The concept of marriage today, regardless of who infected us with this disease called love, It's Hollywood. That when I see the woman, I've instantly fallen in love with her, and I need to marry her, and she's the only girl I can marry. Blah 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 blah. Okay, now we all follow that because let's face it, we can't have more than one wife because we can't afford more than one wife. It's a simple thing. Okay, so sell it however you want, love, whatever. I don't really care, but it's bottom line is that because we are aware of genetics, so we want to stay away from certain things. Because we're aware of a lot of things these days via science, we look at the scans at some of this, but at the same time, you have to look at the other side. You have first cousins who get married. Aunts, amongst the Mormons, I think they still have a lot of these things going on. Maybe in the Amish they have anything that's going on? No? Okay. But then you also have the Ozarks, and you see what happens there. So, I don't know. I mean, you really have to start picking and choosing to say, where are we looking? Look at the royal families who married themselves so that their money wouldn't go somewhere else. So, I mean, there was a lot of mental disease. So, that's, like I said, we know that scientifically we're told. I don't know if you can say we know. Scientifically, we have evidence that this is too close for comfort. So most of us stay away from it. Those who don't stay away from it, they're trying, they're playing with a fire sometimes.
More than one doctor mentioned that Jewish genetic diseases, because especially in Europe, Jewish communities stuck together. They were married other Jews, and and it was seldom that they went far away.
Okay, so to that, but I'll give you one response. To say that because we all what do you call it?
Cousins along.
Whatever, intermarried, as it were, within our own with our own places. Therefore, that's how we develop diseases. I want to know. It's not. There was a case. I won't say where because I don't want to. But there was a case where this girl, a Jewish girl, married this non-Jewish kid. Okay, one of the many intermarriages that we have in the world. He came from God knows where, his family from some other place, and she came from a different place. It wasn't like the same town. Yeah. They get married. Very nice, like I said, and they have a kid. That kid had a disease. The odds of that disease coming out were 1,000,000 to 1. Except when they did the research, they found, oh, wait, you came from that, your family came from that place, and you came from that place. You know what? When you guys get together, now give me a break. That's ridiculous. Such recessive genes.
And he had no Jewish lineage?
No, it wasn't a Jewish disease. It wasn't a quote unquote Jewish disease, but it was Nebuch. I feel bad. I mean, it was nobody ever wants to see anybody have a sick child, but it was. My point is that it's not a matter of just what town I come from. It's if I have a recessive gene for something, and all the things are right, things will happen. That's why you could have cousins who get married, and there's nothing that happens to the kids. They have healthy kids. It's like the person who smokes and has pork and all this stuff and lives to 120 and drinks Dr. Pepper. All these things you would think are death to you, and they're smoking and drinking and doing what they want. I always say they're too pickled to know they died, but it's. But they live. So again, science is very nice, and that we can say, if I look at these cases, the odds are I shouldn't do this sort of thing. Fine, I hear it. I didn't marry my cousin. So, but it's you have those who say, I don't care. I don't care about what science says. Hashem didn't say it's forbidden. So since he didn't say it's forbidden, and it works out, she's the right one for me, that's it.
You were asking about the Amish. They have a lot of problems because it's very limited gene pool.
Right.
They don't.
So the Amish also have a lot of birth defects? Okay.
It's not just from marrying your cousins, though. It's just that the whole gene pool
is so small.
Very small.
The question, and I really don't want to get lost in this, but the question, I'm not a genetics person, but the question really would be, is it just because they married in themselves, or is it their diet? Is it a combination of factors? In other words, we look at things and we only see, it's compared. I'm going to compare this to certain things in Jewish law. Sometimes we look in the Talmud, we'll look at a case, and we'll say, okay, and we'll destroy that case, and we'll pull it apart and do everything else to it. And we'll say, okay, according to this is how you rule. Well, as I said to somebody else, Jewish law does not exist in a vacuum. I can look at one particular thing and rip it apart and put it together again, but then what happens when it hits reality? You know what I'm saying? So when we look at science, when the scientist is looking at something, they're focusing in on something. And so they say, well, because of this, blah, 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 and they do a couple of experiments, or maybe 1,000 experiments, and it seems to work out, but it doesn't mean it's right. It means that according to what we've just seen, it would make sense. The correlation says this. But like I said, is it the area they're coming from? Is there some disease that there's in the area that they didn't know about? What are the outside factors? And I think those all have to be brought in, and maybe they did. Again, I'm not a geneticist. I'm not a geneticist. They may have done all this, but it seems to me that if it's true, it should always happen. And if it's not, it doesn't always happen.
It's like you were saying, it's not only a limited gene pool, but it's a limited lifestyle.
Right. And so if it's a limited lifestyle and a limited what we're getting in our diet, maybe those two factors are what caused it. It may not be the other factor at all, or maybe just that factor pushes it along. It's like a person who says, if you smoke, the odds are you can get cancer. Some people can smoke, like I said, they never get cancer. Some people quit 30 years ago and suddenly come up with lung cancer. Some people never smoked and get lung cancer. And you think, well, what happened here? How is that fair? The answer is that if I have the recessive gene, again, I'm going from what I read. If I have that recessive gene, so then that's going to happen to me. If I give in to one thing, if I weaken my immune system down, okay, could be. I'm not arguing. I'm not saying I'm not advocating somebody should marry their first cousin, no matter who's watching, should hear that. I'm not advocating that. I'm not advocating anything like that. What I'm saying is that it happens. It happens. And in this case, certainly it happened. And the Torah allows for a uncle to marry a niece. But again, we have to be very clear in this, that originally, to a very large extent, marriage was never about love. It was always about protection. That was all it was about. It was always about protection. It was never love. You never hear love. The only time you hear love is one case in the Torah where it says, Yaakov saw Rachel and he loved her. He fell deeply in love. Okay, fine. But the other case is his father Yitzchak, who says they brought Rivka into the tent and he loved her. That's more logical. Sarah never says he loved her.
They got married and he loved her.
No, Sarah never said that. Well, it's only Rivka, it's only Rebecca and Isaac, where Isaac says he brought her into the tent and he loved her, which is the normal procedure. That's what we want. I bring you in, I get to know you, I learn to love you, normal thing. As compared to Yaakov, where he sees his future bride, he falls in love with her, is willing to work 7 years for a crook, and so on and so forth. He's willing to do anything to get this woman. Okay, very nice. And for those who are now listening to it, they're thinking, what an epicurus I am, and so on and so forth. But it's...
But you to read the story.
Right. Because I'm taking it out of context, because if you look at the rabbis, we understand much more what's going on. There's a very deep... Both are very deep stories. They're both very deep storylines. But for those, I've learned from all these other rabbis that I hear, they just go for the headline. So I'll throw a headline in. Okay. And but that's really what it is. So we have to understand that with marriage. So now we're all set, though. Adniel is the uncle. Okay. So Adniel marries her. And like I said, so ArtScroll just pointed out that the reason Adniel was the one who was roy, the one who was fitting to marry Achsa, was because he was such a Talmid Chacham. Fine. So now Yud Dalit. So it says Vayihi Baboa. So it was when she came at us, Vatzitehu l'sh'ol meida via hasadeh, and she was going to ask her father about the field. V'titznach me'ala chamor. So she got off. Okay. She got off from the chamor, the donkey. Kalev malach. So Kalev says to her, "What's happening? What can I do for you today?" Okay. So now the question is, well, you asked me, what's the question? What's the obvious question there?
What's this phrase, she slid off the donkey? What's that about? Why is that even in there?
It's just an expressions they use. We'll get into it. Rashi says that Meshuz David says, from the Itza, when you get off, she went down with power. She's picture the old West, the stories of the old West where they're running, the horses are running, and he gets off the horse with force to say, "I'm angry" or something like that. That's what we're trying to get across here. She's coming because she wants more land. We didn't hear the story before. No? Okay, I thought we did. I thought it was in Joshua. Okay, so it must be only here. Okay, no, it's so fine. So I taught this before. Maybe that's why it's going on in my mind, because I was connecting it. But that's really what it is. So she went with force because she wants to talk to her dad about giving more land. Because the whole storyline is, I don't know where I know this. Why do I know this?
It's in Joshua chapter 15, I think.
Oh, we did say it before, right?
15,
okay,
15.
fine.
It's almost identical.
Right, good. Because I knew I read this before. I just wanted to make sure that I taught it here and not some other place. Okay, so let's remember the story. So Adniel was a Talmud Chacham. As a Talmud Chacham, he was not interested in this world. Okay, that's the problem. When we have people who are learning all day, they're not so interested in this world. So what they do is they're satisfied with very little. They don't worry about too much. Okay, they can be the happiest people on a shoestring budget. Not a problem. Well, Achsa needs to have land. She needs to have food. You don't live on love alone. You don't live on learning alone. So she says to her husband, Achsa, I think you need to go to my father, your brother, and get more land. And he's like, leave me alone, honey. I have to learn. I have Seder today. I have to go to the base matters. So she decides, you know what, it's not fitting for my husband to do it. So she's going to go to her father, and she's going to present it to her father, and then her father will give it to her gladly. So she goes through this whole thing. Again, if you go back to the original story, you'll see how this whole thing, what the whole storyline, either just go online to see, you said it's chapter 15? So go back to chapter 15, whatever that was online, in the Joshua stories. You'll see, we read through this whole thing. So anyway, Vatomer Lo, she says to him, Havali bracha, give me a bracha, in other words, give me an extra portion of land. Ki eretz ha-negev netatani, you gave, because you gave to me the south land, and natati li gulot mayim, and you gave to me this, I'm sorry, and you should give to me this water of the Beit Baal that you have to water. So you give me these springs of water. I need a place that I have water. I have no water for these for this field, and it's not a good field. So it's what happens. Veitan la Kalev at Gilead Elit. So Kalev gives her Gulot Ilit. So he gave her the upper springs and the lower springs. That way she had water that she could water her field. So he says, Rashi says, Eretz HaNegev, the southern land, Adam, Shavito, Minogev, Michol Tov, Shembo, Elit. Right, so it's only learning Torah. Okay, fine. So, the Mesilas David says better. He doesn't use poetry here. He says, Eretz Negev, you gave me chelkat sada yevesha mibli me'enei mayim. You gave me dry land without any water. You didn't do me any favors here. Natatali, and you gave to me zot. So give to me. Listen, zot eshal. This is what I want from you. Shitzenli sada shebab me'en anova mayim. Give me a field that the water is bubbling up. In other words, I have a well. So he gives him gulot ilit, which is the sada, the field of that place. Ubab me'en and that place had springs, upper springs and lower springs. So that's what he gives her. And she's happy. Now she can do some farming. The husband can do some learning, and we're all set.
I got a question about 14. So wait, so 14.
I didn't get there yet.
No, 14. We just did that.
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh, 14. I'm sorry. I was at 18. Yeah, go ahead.
So she came to him.
Yeah.
That's Asriel, right?
She came to Kalev, her father.
Wait a minute.
Achsa comes to her father.
Wait a
Oh,
minute.
no.
That she persuaded him to ask of her father. She came to him, so who was Asriel?
Yeah, but Asriel doesn't do it. She does it.
Right, so that was my question is, all of a sudden, in 15, all of it, at the end of 14, all of a sudden, she's in front of her father.
Because that's what I was saying. Asriel said, I won't go.
Yeah, he leaves that out here.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the reason you know it is because, like you just said, Vatatsi Tehu, she could try to convince him to ask her father about the field, and then she ran and she did it. She did.
She jumped off the duck.
She did. Because he said, we don't need it, honey. I got everything. I mean, think about that.
That's filled in by the commentators.
All right. That's what I'm saying. If you go back to the original story, then you'd see that. See, it's not here. They don't say it twice.
Okay.
The Malbim is assuming that if you got this far, you already know that. I'm guessing. I don't know. Because I don't see, he's not saying anything about this.
I don't remember that from Joshua.
I'm trying to figure out why he doesn't say it here. Oh, here's what he says. Okay, here. Let's go. I knew I saw in the Malbim before. Here he says like this. He picks on the name of the place. He says, we find that Devere was called Kiryot Sneh, the city of the Sneh, the thorn bush, what's that burning bush? What was the burning bush? There was a thorn bush, Sneh. That was
In
okay.
Exodus?
Yeah. He says, why is it called that? Because that city went out. It was next to Kiryat Sefer. Why was it called Kiryat Sefer, the city of books? Because that's where the Talmidim, the students, gathered. Torah, where they would learn Torah. It was a tremendous yeshiva there. V'nikra Gam Kain Kiryat Sneh was also called Kiryat Sneh. Al Shem Ratzon Shochnei Sneh, because they desired to dwell amongst that sneh, that bush, where they would learn Torah. V'El Shem Moshe Kibel Torah Sinai. It was also called that because that's when Moshe received the Torah from Sinai. So Sneh again. V'Sha'atniel Haya Rosh Yeshiva, and Atniel was a Rosh Yeshiva. He was the dean of the school. V'Hu Hika at Kiryat Sefer, he smote Kiryat Sefer She'ahaka Tomar B'Divrei Chachamim Al Nisuach B'Pilpul, and when it means that he struck, he beat them up, it means that he was successful in the Pilpul, in knowing how to understand things. It wasn't a matter of real warfare here. It was a matter of he knew how to win via logic. And that's why when we're learning Torah, we don't learn it actually. Limud Torah, we call it the wars of Torah. By the way, for all those who say, I'm going to get to Mashiach here. Give me a few minutes, okay? Just a few minutes, guys. It's when the Maimonides says that the Mashiach, this is for all the Mashiachs out there who want to tell me they fight the wars of God. Okay? So fighting the war of God, which is what you have to do, according to this, that means fighting the wars of Torah, which means I have to learn and be able to be fluent in Torah. That's why it's called Milchama Shel Torah. When you hear two people in the base matters in the study hall learning, it's not a simple thing like you would have let's have a nice little debate. And you say your point, I say my point. No, it's an outright war. You're yelling at each other. You know what you're talking about. It's this, it's that. And they're the best of friends. They close their books, they go off with a cup of coffee. It's like, you know what's it like? Pro wrestling. You have the heel and the face. Everybody knows pro wrestling? Okay? Those guys are beating, I'm going to kill you wherever I see you. And then they go for a cup of coffee when the match is over. Okay? So the same thing here. These guys are l'shem shamayim. They're for the sake of heaven. They're not for the sake of trying to of being right. That's not their point. Their point is to understand what Hashem wants. So they fight each other and to get to the real understanding of what the Torah is talking about. That's the Milchama Shel Torah. That's the war of Torah. That's what the Mashiach, for all these guys who want to be Mashiach, that's what they have to do. Not a matter of going out and being a guardian angel or whatever the Mashiach they think they're doing. It's not a matter of fighting a war like that, of holy wars, to use the Crusades or the Muslims. Oh, everybody's going to hate me now. But it's the Milchama of war of God is Milchama Shel Torah. Fighting to understand what God wants from us. That's all. Okay, so that's what he was. V'amar ki teishev l'chom et Moshel. So then he's okay. Where is it? Kedomesh Dashu called Milchama Torah. Okay, so I want to go further. So that's who he was. Fine. Now Adniel hu netzach. So he was the successful one in Milchama Kanani Kirseif Peshuta. Okay, let's go. Okay, so here. So now now what happened was, V'yan, so now he said, so that's why Joshua said, if you're successful, you'll get my daughter. No, if you win the war in the base matter, she has my daughter. Okay? That's how the Malbim's understanding this. So then what happens? V'yan rata achsa, so then, V'yan rata achsa, he saw, achsa saw, Kinafa b'chelke eretz negev v'shnei inyanim. She saw that the land that fell into her possession was dry land for two reasons. One, Sha'ita Eretz Neguva, Tzemeya Lamayim. One, there was just no water there. That's what's mentioned in Yeshua. Shabala Panela Eretz Negev. Her husband turned to the Eretz Negev, which means Shahachkim Yedarim, to make wise those people who were living there. He didn't care about giving food to the house. It wasn't his thing. That wasn't where he was coming from. That's why she said, give to me that I can make the land a decent land. And that's why she says, give me a brecha, a well and a field for panasa, for a livelihood. And that's what's going on. So again, he was living in his ivory tower. He was fighting the wars of God. He didn't have the time to start farming. So the wife said, that's why she tries to convince him. You need to go to ask my father. He's like, no, I have to give share. I have to give class. Leave me alone. It's not my thing. And then she does it. And we'll have to stop there. But it's an interesting about Milchama Shel Torah. Okay, the wars of Torah.